Karmapa 900 Delhi is delighted to be able to welcome our chief guests of today, Shri Wajahat Habibullah, Honorable Chairman of the National Commission for Minorities. Before taking up his current position, Shri Wajahat Habibullah has had a long and illustrious career in the Government of India, holding a series of key posts, too numerous to mention here. A most recent position he held until 2005 was Chief Information Commissioner of the Government of India. An accomplished author, he has also been awarded the Rajiv Gandhi Award for Excellence in Secularism. It is for us a special honor to be able to welcome to Karmapa 900 Delhi the Honorable Shri Wajahat Habibullah. May I now request Shri Wajahat Habibullah to please come to the podium and address the gathering. Shri Wajahat Habibullah.
Your Holiness, 17th Karmapa, distinguished guests on the podium, revered monks and nuns and friends, I am indeed deeply honored at having been invited to be chief guest at this very distinguished function, celebrating the 900th year of the founding, of the reincarnation of the Karmapa. As was mentioned, this was the first instance of reincarnation which has continued over the centuries, founded by Dusam Khenpa 900 years ago, and has continued to give life to the world and been replicated and grown. I will, of course, not go into the concepts of reincarnation. These are philosophical concepts. I am no philosopher. I am, however, a historian and an Indian, and I can say that India can be extremely proud of its great diversity and its great strengths, its great beauty of color and form, differences, but an underlying united union. We have been host to all the world's great religions, but we've also been the founders of great religions and given these gifts to the world. I am myself, and have been for several years now, a disciple of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I have attended his lectures, discussed with him the concepts of the unity of faiths. And I've come to the belief that in fact there is no difference between religions. We, over the centuries, have of course for various reasons found ways to be different. But in fact, the objective and the theme of all religions is the same. And this theme was enunciated by the Lord Buddha 2,600 years ago. And this I've learnt from none other than His Holiness the Dalai Lama. What was that theme? We've talked to many concepts, we've talked to many sources of evolution, cause and effect. Cause and effect, of course, is the source of the whole Buddhist philosophy. But there is one thing which I have learned from him and which I've considered and meditated upon, and upon which I've come to the recognition of its truth, and that is the theme of compassion. And I have been speaking in various organizations, even of religious gatherings, of Christians, Muslims, others, and I've asked them, look at your own faith. Is not the basis of that faith compassion? Have you lived up to that? Have you lived up to that basis of your faith, compassion? I think it requires no guesswork to say that no, most of us have over the centuries not lived up to it. And yet, see the teachings. See the teachings of Jesus Christ as he was being crucified, martyred. He calls upon his God, Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Is not that the essence of compassion? The last words that he said? The first words, the very first words of the Quran, the holy book of the Muslims, of which of course I am a member, talks of Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. Thanks be to God, Master of all creation, the compassionate, the merciful. And yet, you look at the history of all these religions. Do you find compassion? Do you find mercy? Do you find forgiveness? You will, in some cases. Of course you will find them. But, unfortunately, the history of humanity has been marred. It is time for us, a time for us all, to come back to the basic teachings of that great individual of whom Your Holiness is a reincarnation. That is the future of the world. A lot has been mentioned about technology, science, and so forth. Of course, those also draw their inspiration from these old traditions. But may I then call you back to the very basic. Unless we have love for each other, all these other achievements are not going to get us very far. And we have that lesson. We have that lesson not today, not yesterday, but from over 2,000 years. It is time we learnt that lesson. In our own country, repeatedly, there have been those of different faiths who have come and reiterated that lesson. And that lesson teaches us to lift ourselves beyond the dictates and dogma of different faiths. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the founder of the Sikh religion, what did he say? Main na Hindu, main na Musalman. Did it mean he was against Hindus or against Muslims? He was not. He absorbed them all. But what he was against was differences being created on the basis of religion. In the 20th century, there was a Sufi saint just near my city of Lucknow. There's a shrine there, Dema Sharif it's called. And his followers, when they went to him to ask for a message, to ask for his teachings, all he would say is, love each other. That is the only message I have for you. So all faiths, all religions have dwelt on this theme. Today, let us think in terms of reviving that theme, because I am convinced, Your Holiness, that that theme is the future of the world. And there have been such beautiful speeches spoken today, which have reminded us of the fact, and particularly Ananda Mai has mentioned, that if you're to practice compassion, if you're to practice ahimsa, we must start with ourselves. And if we have compassion for ourselves, then we must learn from these great teachings which have come down to us over the centuries, and not try and distinguish that, well, I've learned this and you have learned that. We are all children of a common descent. And I don't only mean the people of India. Yes, the people of India have realized this over centuries, though they may have forgotten it now and then. We know for a fact that perhaps the greatest emperor who has ever ruled anywhere in the world was also an Indian. I'm referring to the Emperor Ashok, about whom H.G. Wells had said that his name shines alone. It is a star to which there is no comparison in the rest of the world. Why? Such a mighty emperor, ruler of an empire larger than the Mughal Empire, the Gupta Empire, or the British Empire in India, which stretched from the borders of Afghanistan right down to the tip of India into Ceylon. Yet, that emperor then dedicated himself to the propagation of Dhamma. And we have his teachings still through his various inscriptions across India. And he gave up warfare. As a result, after his passing, his empire broke up into pieces. But look at the lofty ideal which he left to the world. The empire may have broken up because war broke out and there were enemies and people refused to learn the lesson which he taught. But at the same time, it is because of him that various institutions grew, and because of him, the source of the greatness of the spread of Buddhism was there. So all these things taken into account, the time has now come for us to look forward and look at the world as one, in keeping, understanding the meaning of what our own Vedas have taught us, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that we are all one family. Human beings are one family. It's good to say those words, but how do we understand them? And I think the understanding of those words springs from the teachings of the Buddha. And therefore, His Holiness, the Karmapa, His presence among us today, is something which must remind us of our duty to ourselves, and from that, our duty to the world. Let us learn from our own masters, and let us teach to the world what real light is, what the real luminosity is, which will light the world into the future. I must congratulate Music Vidwan, who has so beautifully rendered these old Buddhist sayings into Sanskrit and rendered them here. Over the years, we have forgotten our traditions. They have changed. Change is not something that we should not welcome. Change is always welcome. Change will always help to grow. And I think the basic teachings of Buddhism also are that there will also always be change. There will be cause and effect, and therefore evolution. Evolution is not against humankind. Evolution is for humankind. We all grow. But in growing, we must not forget our basics. And bringing to life those basics are a constant reminder of the way that we are growing and the way that we are going. Are we going towards the light? Are we going towards the darkness? Because the world has passed through phases of darkness. Very often, too often, there's been death and destruction. And yet, the basic theme which all our teachers have taught us over the centuries, be they of any faith, is that we must exercise compassion. So, on this day, I invite you to remember that very basic theme, and let us work together in making it a reality for all, under the guidance of reincarnations of that very person who gave us that idea, the Lord Buddha himself. Thank you very much for having invited me to this function. It's an honor, as I said, for me to have addressed you. Thank you.